my name is Jocelyn Mosier, and my husband and I are foster parents or resource parents through LA County. And we had a 12-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy, brother and sister placement during distance learning. It was their first placement, so they had never been away from their family before. And during the middle of a pandemic, they essentially were cut off from all of their familiar connections and placed with us as strangers. And as much as we loved them and wanted to support them, it was really hard for them to form connections with people who they felt like were in a replacement place for family. So we looked for options that they could, where they could form positive relationships and interactions. And we looked around for where that would be, and there were very few options. And then we found the Boys and Girls Club. And we were so excited for them to get to have a place where they could interact with other kids, as well as with positive adults who really wanted good things for them in the middle of kind of a tumultuous time. When we first started them at Boys and Girls Club, our initial impression was just the positivity they came home with. They were so excited. And so to be really excited about something was fantastic. So the thing that they came home talking about wasn't the facility, it wasn't the other kids, it was the adults that interacted with them all day. They knew the names of all of the staff, and they were so excited to describe their personalities and what they learned about them and what they did together. And they just immediately felt so known and seen and invested in. It was really clear that this was a place they felt like they belonged and they mattered. When they came home and were positive, I definitely cried, because specifically had a really hard time saying anything positive ever, because he felt like it was a betrayal of his birth family. And he had no problem coming home and saying how great you guys were. So I cried quite a bit that night. Boys and Girls Club is fantastic, I think, for any kid, but especially for kids who really seek that positive adult interaction, because the staff at Boys and Girls Club, they're there to help with homework and everything else, but really they're there to create a positive relationship with your kids. And it shows. They make that initial attempt and they will continue following through, and your kid will feel cared about and like they matter. I'm a 7th grade teacher at a school in Doherty, and one of my students was in the Boys and Girls Club here, and I hadn't seen this student at all for a little over 2 weeks, had not shown up to any of my classes. And I have the student for 3 classes. And I just hadn't seen the student at all. And there were multiple attempts to reach. And I know that the family was struggling with internet and a couple of other things. And it was hard as a teacher to support when we didn't have that connection. So when he enrolled in Boys and Girls Club and started showing up there, his attendance picked up. He had people there to help him if he was having tech trouble. He was getting his homework done. He was asking what he could do to help. And there were people supporting him in some of his goals that he had to catch up. So it went from not seeing the student at all to seeing him with the support start reaching for those goals. And it was just a night and day difference. So I would 100% recommend Boys and Girls Club to anyone who wants to just have more positive adult influences in their kid's life, because you really can't ever have enough of that.